This week, a seemingly unlikely figure will say that global warming is a major threat to life on our planet. He'll say that it's our fault, and we need to urgently cut our fossil fuel consumption. Pope Francis's new encyclical, Laudato Si', will be published on Thursday, and it will mark a bold step for the Church into this debate as it tries to push the UN's members into action. The Vatican has long been concerned about climate change. What's novel is the ferocity with which this Pope is pursuing it as a cause. You can see that in a leaked version of the encyclical which emerged this afternoon. In it, Pope Francis compares himself to Pope John XXIII, who had to write an encyclical in 1963 on world peace. That was the Vatican's response to the Cuban Missile Crisis, which almost wiped out humanity. That's how seriously the Vatican is now taking climate change.
The Pope is making this statement on climate change on the back of a report published at the end of April by the Pontifical Academy of Sciences. And if that sounds too churchy a title, one of the signatories includes Martin Rees, Lord Rees, the Astronomer Royal of the United Kingdom. I think the Pope wants to make this statement about climate change because he regards it, and I think quite rightly, as a moral and an ethical issue, as well as a scientific issue.
The rich world's responsibility to the developing world is one of the Pope's key motivations.
He took the name St. Francis, and when he did so, he said that it was the name of the saint of the poor, the saint of nature, the saint of peace. And those were the three things that were prominent in his mission. He called himself a Pope who wanted a poor church for the poor.
But US conservative Catholics like Rick Santorum, a Republican presidential candidate, have already set out their opposition to the encyclical.
There are a lot of conservatives who are deeply opposed to all of this. They're suspicious of Francis talking about detailed things like trickle-down economics or the science of climate change. They say, keep out of that, stick to theology. He says, no, the church is not like that. The church has to be involved in the world.
Pope Francis has chosen to issue this statement as an encyclical. That's the highest form, the most authoritative form of utterance he can make. He's saying this is authoritative teaching. It doesn't mean you can't disagree with it. It doesn't mean if you disagree with it you're not a Catholic. It does mean that the Pope has chosen to issue something which he regards as very authoritative, and you're then disagreeing with it.
Some worry that curbing carbon might hurt today's poor by delaying economic growth by more than it helps the poor of the future. So, even among believers, a man whose arrival was marked with a cloud of smoke has a fight on his hands when it comes to emissions.